Hello, I'm Father Kasmir Nema of Radio Veritas Asia. We are here at the Diocese of Galle to interview the Most Reverend Bishop Raymond.
Bishop Raymond Wickramasinghe, born on August 31, 1962, in Uthuankanda, Galle district, is the seventh of 9 children. He began his early education at Pilapitia Roman Catholic School and Mayurapadha Primary before completing his advanced level studies at Piatisa School in Galle. His journey to the priesthood started with studies in philosophy at St. Francis Xavier's Seminary, Caligana, and theology at the National Major Seminary of Our Lady of Lanka, Kandy. He was ordained a priest on August 5, 1989, and incardinated into the Diocese of Galle. Bishop Wickramasinghe holds a PhD in moral theology from the Alfonsian University in Rome, along with a baccalaureate in philosophy and a licentiate in theology from Propaganda University. Over the years, he served in various roles, including assistant vicar, rector, pastor, and diocesan director of Veritas. He also spent time as secretary to Bishop Elmo Noel Joseph Pereira and later became a professor of moral theology at the National Seminary of Our Lady of Lanka. On June 27, 2011, Pope Benedict XVI appointed him Bishop of Galle, and he was consecrated on August 31, 2011, succeeding Bishop Harold Anthony Pereira.
Let's start with this question, Bishop. You have served Diocese of Galle since 2011. Can you tell us general picture of your diocese, including number of Catholics, priests, and ministries?
Our diocese was originally one with the Archbishop before 1893, and then it was declared as a diocese in 1893. And appointing the first bishop from Belgium, Bishop Joseph van Riet. And in 1895, he was installed as the first bishop of Galle. Since then, I am the 7th bishop of this diocese. And I am happy to say that lots of missionaries have worked in our diocese, beginning the history from 1505, when the Portuguese came to Sri Lanka, and they have landed here in our diocese. We have a wonderful harbor. So, and some of the Franciscan priests have come with them. This is what we know by the history. And then the Dominicans and Jesuits and the Oblates have served in this diocese. So it's a long history, and from 1895, the diocese has grown up so much, and now today we have 17 parishes. We have about 8,500 sort of Catholics scattered, including few migrants, as the diocese is very much missionary nowadays. Few decades back, there were lots of Catholics in and around these areas, but they have migrated to different other countries, and therefore the numbers have gone down drastically. But we continue our work. 17 parishes. We have 9 women religious congregations working, and 1 association also, 10. We have also 6 men religious congregations serving in my diocese. Total number of priests are 45. And out of that, 32 are diocesan clergy. Nearly 90 women religious are serving in 3 civil districts of the Diocese of Galle, particularly of the southern province of Sri Lanka. So this is just in general. We are less than 1% Catholics in the southern province.
With that general picture, Bishop, what are the main ministries offered by the diocese?
Our personally, we go through Caritas International. Caritas we call SEDEC, and we call it SED Galle in the southern province. And the Caritas network and also associated to that is for the tea plantation sector. We have one association called Codal Church. It is only for the plantation workers, where we try to provide, together with Veritas International, education, sanitary facilities, awareness programs, family counseling, even legal, assistance when necessary, migrants and refugees and so on, since we also have the harbor and we are living by the coastal area. For ministry for the fisheries, ministry also for the people who are just doing odd jobs, like, I must say that we are in the villages, we are in the cities, and the different praise, religious, women religious, and also doing our services to the prisons. We have several prisons in Sri Lanka. Some of the main prisons are in my diocese. Like I am also a prisoner, so it's among them. So we also have a hospital ministry, chaplaincy, and we continue with a lot of social work, I must say, other than the evangelization part of it, which is an indirect evangelization, is happening in the southern province.
What are key challenges you faced as a diocese?
Dioceses, we are being helped. That is the normal thing in the Universal Catholic Church. But the suspicions that are building up, different extremist groups of other religions who are really working in the southern province also, I don't want to name it since it can tarnish the other religions, but these extremist groups are a challenge to us, and therefore when our priests and our laity approach or through a project for that particular village or a city, there is a lot of suspicion or disowning. After having got the help, they disown when there is some common issue or something like that. So we feel a bit, sad about it, and we have taken it as a very serious challenge. And so our dialogue continues with different other religions, therefore, and the government stakeholders, so that they will own this project, whatever we are doing. So we always work with the government establishments and the rules and regulations according to that particular city. So that is suspicion on the part of the common masses is our challenge.
In light with those challenges you face in your diocese, and the triple dialogues in FABC offer dialogue with culture, with religion, and with the marginalized people. And you mentioned about dialogue with those fundamentalist group. What else triple dialogue have been implemented in your diocese or even in Sri Lanka?
Now, in general, in the southern province, I cannot ignore either the religions, the cultures, and the poor. Now, this triple dialogue is the reality of our diocese. Unless myself, together with our pastoral plan, my brother prays, it will be very difficult for us to live and survive here in the southern province. Therefore, whenever we have some events, like we just passed through, we call the Sinhala Tamil New Year, for an example. And we have encouraged our Catholics also to take part in the cultural events, because there are lots of cultural events involved in the Sinhala Tamil New Year. So we can see that our priests in every parish, everywhere, they also organize some programs for that and so on. But the dialogue needs to be continued, particularly in the southern province. I have been visiting the temples whenever I go to the parishes. I also visit the Buddhist temples and the Hindu kurukals, and I meet them. They are kovils, And I have a good number of Muslim Maulavis, they are clergy. So we, difficult dialogue, but yet we say it is not impossible. So for every celebration, every opportunity, we get them. They come together, and we discuss and we meet. I visit them every New Year. For their New Year, for Christmas also, I visit. Even Christian denominations and sects, Christian pastors, I go to their places with a bunch of something, some goods, some cookies, something, hamper to the Buddhist temples, to the Christian pastors and Hindu kurukals, everybody. So this is something I don't say that all the dioceses must practice. This can be my way of doing it. But I have found a lot of results and the goodwill. Therefore, whenever I go around and when my priests go around, we can freely go to their temples and work together for common good.
Where do you envision your diocese in the 5 or 10 years from now?
The synod that Holy Father has brought into light and inviting us to change, to have a new path, is a challenge to us, to the traditional church, to the traditional thinking, to some of us or some of you who have studied a lot, and so on. This is definitely a challenge. When the Holy Father is asking us to go to the peripheries, look into the people who are suffering and the marginalized, for me personally as a priest, it's not a challenge at all. You understand? So I feel so much like fish in the water. I feel happy. But I'm not perfect. But I want to sit with my priests and I encourage them that we need to open our eyes, open the gates, open the doors, so that the people, the laity, can come to us and they can have their own place. This is their church. We are only ministers as priests and religious. So this is a challenge, definitely, because we are trained and formed and we have been working in a different level. And suddenly, this new opening of inviting after Vatican II, so many years after, so many decades after, we are still struggling to acknowledge and accept that this church is of the people of God. So our diocese is discussing, we continue this discussion, and we try to go to the periphery and meet our people there.
It seems the Bishop, listening to your explanation and vision of your diocese in the near future, you seem to be wanted to more on synodal diocese, synodal church, and you are very much part of that process. Share your experience being a representative from Asia, and of course, what is your practical suggestions to our priests, our people, so that they may be more synodal mindset in their ministries?
Father Nema, we are never late for anything to begin anew. It is our mindset. It's our humility to understand the scriptures, to understand the teachings of the church all throughout. So many popes have written their encyclicals and apostolic letters and so on. And the church already has an opportunity for a change, which is for the betterment, for the good, in a very much a challenging world. Few decades ago, our life was different. But with this social media and the mass media, and the cultures are different, and the globalization has affected our faith journey. So the Holy Father, as wise as he is and empowered by the Holy Spirit, called this synod at the right time. At a time the church was sort of going to be forgotten by generations. He wants us to give a little bit more life. He wants to tell the people that we are with you. We are walking a journey with you. I am a priest. I am a bishop today. If I don't feel that you are crying or you are smiling, what is the purpose of our proclamation of the Word of God to the people? Good news. What is the good news for a suffering person? If I am not there right now with someone, so the synodal journey is simply to open your heart, open your mind, and feel that your brother, sister is with you. It is not a fight like, with two groups of others, but it's a matter of just realizing, recognizing my brother, my sister in the journey. So, do I have the heart for visitations, to go to people and recognize, not to treat my people as a project? I have some money, few lakhs of rupees or dollars. Now I find the people, try to find a project to fit into that. People are not a project object. So I say they are subjects. Because of the people, we try to understand what best I can do, what is the language that I can talk to them. So synodal journey challenges us, as I told you in the very beginning, because we are used to some sort of a life and we are very much comfortable in our own setup. But we need to go out.
Let us now move to other questions related to your vocation as bishop. What has inspired you to say yes to God's call as priest and of course as bishop?
I come from a family of 9 children, and my father was in the army, and he died in 1984. And my mother since then looked after our 9 children, and she died last year July. For me, the first inspiration was my mother, and the way that she was a loving personality, a woman of God. She didn't have a lot of money and so on, but she had a wonderful faith. And whenever I spoke to her, whenever I went to see her, she was praying. So even in her last days, like she died when she was 97, so she was praying. So that in the beginning itself, the beginning of my vocation, I found her as my inspiration. And of course, with my youngsters, with the dedication I had as an altar server, and the parish priest, Father Nicholas Pereira, one good priest, he inspired me. And as the bishop, it was not a planned thing. I was in the staff of the National Seminary of Our Lady of Lanka, teaching moral theology, and for 3 years I was there. And suddenly when the nuncio called me and said, I am the Bishop of Galle, I just surrendered my life to him, to the Lord. Didn't have any plans. I never had any plans for Galle Diocese. I never had any plans what is to do, what is to be done as a bishop. I don't know. But when it was told to me, I came back to my room, knelt down, and I prayed. I thanked the Lord for the message, but I told him, I belong to you. Do whatever you want me to do. Carry me through. So that is how I began, and now I just continue, with all the other missionaries and wonderful people that I have met in the Asian level and at the last synod, the many hundreds of cardinals and bishops. I have found some amazing personalities. So I think I have a hope that however feeble as I am, or incapable, we will be able to do something, continue by the grace of God.
Thank you for that beautiful story. I'm sure besides your busy schedules with diocese and also in the national level, of course, FABC level, and also Vatican for being representative from Asia. Do you still have your personal hobbies, beside those busy schedules? And what are the hobbies? Tell us, share us.
I used to play basketball. Actually, as a seminarian and later as a priest, I used to take part in dramas. I used to act, and I in fact became in 1985 the best actor in the seminary, you know. So basketball was also very much, even recently I was finding a little bit of time to go to the minor seminary and play the basketball. But there is another secret for the first time I have to say in front of you, maybe, is I like to go fishing. That is
Catching the fish.
yes. We have the ocean is just here, and we have several lakes and other things as you go down deep south a little bit. So very secretly, with a few priests known to me, I try to find at least once in 3 months, once in 4 months, just go for 1 or 2 hours of fishing. I hope I will not disturb anybody's faith on that.
Oh, certainly not, Bishop. Let us move to another question, Bishop. We just finished our pandemic, we hope finished, and there's no more other pandemic. And I'm sure in other countries, other dioceses, other church, there is a change in paradigm and approach in terms of our mission. Does it also alert in your diocese after this pandemic?
Yes, and several things happened in Sri Lanka, you may have heard. It's not only, we will say, COVID pandemic. We also had several natural disasters because we were a generation, we suffered a lot after tsunami in 2004. That affected, Thailand and many other countries. But Sri Lanka was over 45,000 people died, and in my diocese over 5,000 died. And in this city and so on, was destroyed like anything. So we are a battered sort of a nation, Sri Lanka. So pandemic, and then came the economic crisis and the political, changes that took place in Sri Lanka definitely affected like the face of the Sri Lankan history. And not very much of the changes in the culture per se, but changes in the attitudes, the approach, the PR, the personal relations, as the people were suffering economically very bad. And we had to run around the whole wide world and the IMF and World Bank and everybody else and sell our soul to some of the richer countries, for an example. I'm sorry to use the word like that, but we have sold most part of our country also to different countries. So thereby we need to keep an eye open, and our intelligentsia must come up, and the people of goodwill must extend their goodwill if we want to see the glory of our country back again. It will take some time, but it's not impossible again. I believe there are people of goodwill, and the political will also in some part of Sri Lanka. So we look forward, we pray that every good thing will happen to Sri Lanka.
Do you think those crises, so to say, has an impact in the people's faith coming to the church?
I would say 50-50. It's like some came back to the church, particularly the pandemic. Pandemic brought back a whole lot of people. There was a lot of thirst for them to come to the church because churches were closed for some time, and we were going online and so on. But people wanted to get back. People saw people dying, deaths all around us, cries, So there was an increase of faith. But then the economic crisis and few other challenges are also moving them away. And the present day younger generations who are addicted to social media and mass media, maybe more social media, are very much at it. And they are not very much worried about the sacramental life and so on and so forth. And the world stage, the world politics, the decisions that they make at the United Nations and all other international organizations against the very values of our cultures, So I don't want to go into details of it, but this global impact is really challenging and changing the face of our very peaceful, peace-loving communities.
Perhaps not many people out there in Asia, in particular, know about your diocese. If I may ask, what do you want people to know about your diocese? Tell us.
Ours is a tourist destination. Let me put it in a very practical, positive way. Galle Diocese, southern province of Sri Lanka, with 3 civil districts, is one of the first tourist destinations in Sri Lanka. We have some golden sand beaches and enough tourist places of fauna and flora. We have waterfalls, we have rivers, we have everything. So I would first say, come and see, come and be with us, come and place your tent with us, right? I may not be rich enough to welcome all of you, but I'm sure if you come, you will see us. Help Sri Lanka, help the southern province. Know that we are one family. We are one in the universal family, God's family. And therefore, in the Christian perspective, once in a way, look at the maps and find us. This is the Diocese of Galle. And we need you. We need one another. Without you, I don't think we will survive. So the Christian family always should have this fraternity, this connection. That only will help us, not only in the troubled times when we shout at you, ask for your help, but by your own. Come to us. We will share personally with you. Welcome to Galle Diocese.
Bishop Raymond, it has been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation and share your thoughts with us. I am Father Kasmir, SVP of Radio Veritas Asia. Thank you for watching, and see for more interesting conversations with Asian bishops. Bye for now.